Okay students, today we are going to learn something really awesome. When I started this Newton laws of motion, I think in the last lecture you were able to write down the forces and the acceleration part. So before I move forward, I will tell you the four most important things while making free body diagram. The first thing, the only non-contact force is gravitation. The second thing, every contact will have a force equal and opposite to each other, on each other. Third important thing, when you make free body diagram, that has nothing to do with acceleration because you show only forces. These forces are to be broken down only along two directions. One along the plane on which the body is lying and one perpendicular to the plane. And the fourth and the last thing, to get the acceleration, you have to see how the strings are attached or how the bodies are relatively placed. These are the four things. Now I told you one more thing, Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion, if all the things are balanced, then there will not be any acceleration or you will have constant velocity, or you can also say no change in velocity. Now inertial frame I defined, and I told you while studying Newton's first law that these Newton's laws cannot be applied in a non-inertial frame. If you are sitting inside an accelerating bus, and the definition of inertial frame for us is very easy. Earth we regard as an inertial frame for whole of IIT-JEE. Earth is actually inertial frame, okay, a little bit disturbance, but it is okay, inertial frame. And anything moving in constant velocity with respect to Earth, that constant velocity may be zero, that constant velocity may be have some velocity. Anything moving with constant velocity with respect to Earth will be known as inertial frame. Constant velocity, not constant acceleration. If the velocity is changing, if it has some acceleration, whether the acceleration is constant or whether the acceleration is not constant does not matter. In both the cases, the frame will become non-inertial. Now one thing's come to my mind. Can we apply Newton's laws to non-inertial frame? If I remember my old lecture of Newton's first law, then clearly I told you that in non-inertial frame, Newton's laws cannot be applied. So suppose we are sitting in a bus which is accelerating. Suppose we are sitting in a car, we are accelerating. Then how we will solve this force acceleration problems? Today I am going to teach you how to apply this F equal to ma, how to apply these Newton's laws in a non-inertial frame, in a frame which is accelerating with respect to Earth, in a frame whose velocity is changing with respect to Earth. Today I am going to tell you, and I just want you to listen it very carefully, and if at any point of time any doubt, ask directly, interrupt in the middle. Today I am going to teach you, oh, black color, not good, I don't like this color. My favorite color is red. Okay, today I am going to teach you application of Newton's laws in a non-inertial frame. Now we all know that Newton's laws cannot be applied in any non-inertial frame. If we are sitting inside a bus which is accelerating, if we are sitting inside a train which is accelerating, sitting inside a car which is accelerating, but we don't have anything except Newton's laws to solve force acceleration problems. So what we should do, or what we should change, or what we should take care of, so that we are able to apply our learned thing of force acceleration in a non-inertial frame. And today I will introduce to pseudo force and many things. Before this, before I can tell you this, let us begin with a very simple problem. Let's again come to our HOD machine. Here we have some mass, please listen M1, and here we have one more mass M2. If M2 is greater than M1, it is easy to see, oh teacher, if I leave them, then this will go down and this will go up. This will go down and this will go up. Am I right? Say yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and definitely, they are not going to move with constant velocity. They will have acceleration, and that acceleration we have already found out. Say yes. Now I'm going to change something. Instead of this, let us have a pulley here. And then pulley is having mass M2 and mass M3. And let us simply assume that M3 is much greater than M2, which is much greater than M1. So this whole thing is much heavier compared to this. Now this whole thing, please understand, please understand. Now from here, please listen to every word that I am going to say. If you listen to it, you will become expert in the first question itself. Now, question number 1. Can Newton's laws be applied to M2 and M3? Does this pulley or this particular system that I have boxed in yellow belongs to an inertial frame? Is it an inertial frame? Can we apply Newton's laws to M2 and M3? Say, tell me, can we apply Newton's laws to M2 or M3? This whole thing will be accelerating downwards. So can we apply Newton's laws to M2 or M3? Say yes or no, what do you think? What do you suggest? Can we apply Newton's laws? Tell me whatever you know, need not be right at every moment in life. Sometimes let's be wrong. Yeah, tell me. What do you think? Can we apply Newton's laws? See, this whole thing will be accelerating. Can we apply Newton's laws?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see. The first thing that you must ask, when I asked you, can we apply Newton's laws to M2, M3 or where? Now I told you something, but you have to pick it in word by word. I told you, if you are sitting inside an accelerating car, then you cannot apply Newton's laws. Why? Because you are the observer and you are inside that car. See, Newton's laws cannot be applied if the observer is in a non-inertial frame. If the person observing is outside the car, whether the car is accelerating or whether the car blows up, he can apply Newton's laws. See, whenever I say application of Newton's laws in non-inertial frame, Newton's laws depends whether Newton's law can be applied or not. This depends where is the observer, not where is the object. The object may be present in accelerating frame. The object may be present in non-accelerating frame. The object may be revolving here and there. Doesn't matter. The observer must be in the inertial frame. First try to understand that. When I am saying inertial frame or non-inertial frame, it is not with respect to the object. Let the object accelerate. Let the object blow up. Let the rocket reach the moon. No problem. It is the observer. Understand, slowly we are going to come to it. The observer must always be in an inertial frame. This is the point. Not necessary, the object is an inertial frame or non-inertial frame. It is immaterial. It is nonsense thing. Saying the object is in non-inertial frame or object is in inertial frame, this doesn't matter. The matter is of observer. Now see, let us take an observer on the earth. Please try to understand. Please try to understand. Now if the observer is present on earth, so this whole becomes an inertial frame. Frame means the reference of observation. Frame means the coordinate system of observation. Whenever we talk about non-inertial frame, it is the reference of observation. That is, it is the frame where observer is present, not the object, observer. Now I am going to solve this problem completely, and I want you to understand this, and from here we will slowly move even if the observer is in non-inertial frame. When I say non-inertial frame, it means of observer. If you are sitting inside the accelerating car, then you are also accelerating. So the observer is accelerating. So now observer is in non-inertial frame. But if I am outside the car and I am looking at you, so I am in an inertial frame. So I can apply all kinds of Newton laws of motion. See, non-inertial frame or inertial frame is not of the object. It is of the observer. Now understand. Now let us take the observer on earth. So now this whole thing becomes inertial frame. This whole thing becomes inertial frame. Now how I am going to do it? Please try to understand. I am going to solve this problem and I want you to understand it very properly. This is one of the things. Inertial or non-inertial frame is for the observer. Where is the observer present? The observer must not be accelerating. The observer should be at rest or at constant velocity with respect to earth. Now understand. Our observer is standing here. So he observes mass m1. Now along one string only single tension. So on this string we have tension, let's say T1. In this string, let's say tension is T2, or whatever direction you like to take, it doesn't matter. Okay, now understand the tension is T2. Now see, this pulley is massless. About every massless object, the forces must be balanced. So for this massless object, we have T1 above and 2 T2 below, because this is pulling this T2, this is pulling this T2. So 2 T2 equal to T1. For every massless object, the forces must be balanced. Please remember that. I have already told you. Now this observer observes M1. So for M1, it will have some acceleration. First, let us draw the forces. On M1, the forces are, please understand, M1G downwards and tension upward. I am only drawing the forces. On M2, the forces are the M2G downwards. First, you always draw forces and tension, oh, not here T1, here T2 upward. And on M3, we again have forces. M3G and T2. Now try to understand. I already told you in the last lecture, and I did many questions. Writing forces is very simple. One non-contact force of gravity, and every contact has a force. Simple. So I have written down force. Now writing down acceleration is where the mind has to be used. Writing forces is very simple. Only two things. Non-contact gravity and every contact force. So non-contact and one contact. So I have written down the forces. Now to write down Newton laws of motion, I have to get acceleration of each. Acceleration of each quantity. Now try to understand everything. See, writing down forces is one thing, writing down acceleration is other. Writing forces is very easy, writing acceleration is more easy. Now, definitely let us come to the logic. This whole system will go down, this will go up, and if inside this system, if I sit here, please try to understand. If a person sits on this pulley, or if a person sits on this pulley, so what he will observe? He will observe that M3 is going downwards and M2 is going upward, because M3 is of much larger mass than M2. Now, for each a different acceleration. Let us take that this particular quantity goes with acceleration A upward, then this whole system will go with acceleration A downwards. This whole thing, whatever it is. Now, come to this particular person. This particular observer is also going with A. So he will only observe this. Let us talk about this system. In this system, inside this system, let us say that the acceleration of this object is A1 and the acceleration of this object is A1 downwards. Now with respect to this person is observing, since this person is sitting on this pulley. Please understand, this person is in a non-inertial frame because this whole thing is accelerating and this person is in a non-inertial frame. So his observations are not going to be correct. According to his observations, we cannot apply Newton's laws of motion because the observer itself in a non-inertial frame. But just sit here. When you sit here, what you will observe? Now you are also going down. He is also going down with A. This is also going down with A. This is also going down with A. When you sit inside the car, you see that everything in the car is at rest because you are moving with the car and everything is also moving with the car. So with respect to you and with respect to everything, everything seems to be at rest. You can think it something like that. If I am moving at parallel with you and my velocity and your velocity is same and acceleration is same, then also you will observe that I am at rest with respect to you. That what happens inside the car. When you sit inside the car, everything inside the car is at rest. Similarly, for this person, what he will see, that this only goes A1 upward, this only comes A1 downwards. But this is not the observation made by him. Because inside the car, if two persons are playing ball, catch ball, throw ball, so only they will see that okay, ball just goes there, then ball comes back. Since they and the ball are moving together, so that's why they will not observe that motion. But outside the person will also observe that motion. Now, this has acceleration A1 upward, this has acceleration A1 downward with respect to this person. Because with respect to this person, this whole system will only these two things are moving. Now consider this. Now consider with respect to Earth. Because to apply Newton's laws of motion, we need to write down the equation with respect to this person. With respect to this person's, this has only acceleration A. But now try to understand. This particular object goes A1 up and this whole system comes A down, and this object goes A1 down and also whole system goes A down. So this will be moving downward with acceleration A1 plus A. You can also understand something like this. See this pen. See this pen. This pen itself, my hand is here. My hand is here. This pen on itself moves a little down. So this point moves 1 centimeter. And if my hand also moves 1 centimeter, then net this points will move 2 centimeter. Because this point on its own moved 1 centimeter and my hand moved 1 centimeter. So this point actually moved 2 centimeter. It is the same thing. This goes with acceleration A1 down, and this system in which this is present goes A down. So net this goes A plus A1 down. See, in the previous question, just understand, here I will introduce one more thing and I want you to understand it. See, in the previous question when something was like this mass, this earth was not moving. This pulley was not moving. This pulley was fixed. So this pulley was fixed actually. This pulley was fixed. But here this pulley is not fixed. The pulley itself is moving. So the movement of the pulley plus the movement of this. If this goes 1 centimeter down and the pulley also goes 1 centimeter down. So in totality he will observe that this mass has gone 2 centimeter down. Now I am going to write down something in mathematics. I want you to understand this. First I am going to write something for this. With respect to this pulley is at earth. With respect to this pulley, this mass has acceleration A upward. With respect to this pulley, and the pulley is at rest. Let us call it P1. Let us call it P1. And let us call this pulley as P2. Now, with respect to this pulley, acceleration of mass M2 with respect to pulley P2 is A1 upward. Let us call A1 J cap. And the acceleration of pulley P2 with respect to earth is A minus J cap, because it is going down. Now I want to find out the acceleration of M2 with respect to earth. So acceleration of M2 with respect to earth will be equal to acceleration of M2 with respect to P2 plus acceleration of P2 with respect to earth. So acceleration of M2 with respect to P2 is A1 J cap, and acceleration of P2 with respect to earth is minus A J cap. So it is A1 minus A. Mathematically it comes like this. But logically also you can have, logic works. This goes A1 up and whole system comes A down. So this will have acceleration upward as A1 minus A. You can write it down mathematically like this, or you can also do it logically like this. Here you have to add, please understand. Here you have to vectorially add the acceleration of object with the acceleration of the system in which object is there. Very important clicking point. The final acceleration with respect to earth. Now I am going to move this a little up. Okay, before that. First tell me, any doubt here?
So can you please explain this A and 2 people?
Yes, I will once more. I will. Just wait. Now suppose there is a system. Please. What was your name, student? Please see here. I am going to explain it once more. Don't worry. Suppose there is a car. This car. I am not very good at drawing this car. Now inside this car, there is another car. Car inside car. Let us call this C1, let us call this C2, and this is earth. So, first understand this. If I tell you the acceleration of C1 with respect to earth is A, and the acceleration of C2 with respect to C1 is B. Let us take both are moving in this direction. So let us have I cap. The acceleration of C1 with respect to earth. Now car C2 is present inside C1. The acceleration of C1 with respect to earth is A, and the acceleration of C2 with respect to C1 is B. What will be the acceleration of C2 with respect to earth? You can very easily say acceleration of C2 with respect to earth is acceleration of C2 with respect to C1 plus acceleration of C1 with respect to earth. Is this thing clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this comes out to be acceleration of C2 with respect to C1 is B I cap plus acceleration of C1 with respect to earth is A I cap. Is this thing clear? Say yes.
Yes, sir.
Why I am writing this with respect to earth? Because earth is an inertial frame. So if I stand on the earth, if I become an observer on the earth, then observer is present in inertial frame. Now please try to understand. If this is the case, here what happens? C2 moves a distance, then this C2 moves b distance, and then C1 whole system moves a distance. So what is the net displacement? A plus b. You can think like that. Here also, when I told you that this has acceleration A1 with respect to what? With respect to this pulley. If you sit on this pulley with respect to this system, leaving this, with respect to this system only, this has acceleration A1, this has acceleration A1 downward. But when you open, you see that this system is whole going with acceleration a. So in each object, the acceleration of the system, the acceleration on which it is laid down, the acceleration on which it is put, will always be added vectorially. This object, this mass, is put on this particular pulley. So if pulley moves, this will move. Even if you have equal masses. Even if you have equal masses. Not this, like this. Even if you have equal masses, they are at rest with respect to pulley. But if you move the pulley, the whole system will move. Because this M is resting on this pulley. So this mass is resting on this pulley. So whatever be the acceleration of the pulley will always get added to this. Whatever be the acceleration of the pulley will always be get added to this. So this is the force diagram and the acceleration diagram. Any doubt, please ask. Say yes. Is this thing clear to you all? Say yes.
Yes, sir.
Is it really clear to you all? So all these accelerations are with respect to the person on earth. So you can certainly apply, I am writing it down here. So you can certainly apply Newton's laws of motion now, because all forces are with respect to earth and all acceleration also with respect to earth. So for the first block, M1, for M1 I am going to get T1 minus M1G equal to M1A. For M2, you are going to write T2 minus M2G comes out to be M2 into A1 minus A. And for M3, you can write down, it is going downwards. So M3G minus T2 comes out to be M3 into A1 plus A. And T1 and T2 are already connected by the relation 2T2 equal to T1. Yes. So we have T1, T2, A1 and A. 4 equation, 4 variable. Solve, you will get. You will also get the acceleration of this system. You will also get the acceleration of this. When I said this accelerating A1 with respect to this pulley, when I said acceleration A1 downward with respect to this pulley, due to this pulley's motion, and then this pulley again going with respect to A. Is this thing clear to you all? Say yes. Say yes, students. Please say yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please copy down. Whenever something is on something, whenever something is resting on something, and this thing accelerates, then in this thing, the acceleration of the system has to be added vectorially. Or one more way is there that I will tell you. Now let us do a question. Let us do a very simple question. And let us see whether we can do something or not. Let us see here. Please look on the board. Please look on the board. Suppose there is a wedge on a frictionless surface. This wedge. And there is one more block of mass M put on this. Now think commonly, think common sense. If this block will go downwards, and you know, as this block will go downwards, this block will move here. Can you understand that? Can you understand that? This surface is totally frictionless. So both blocks will move. This will move in this direction, this will move in this direction downwards. This will definitely have some acceleration with respect to Earth. Let us suppose that this particular mass M has acceleration A here with respect to Earth. It's easy to see. Now I do not know what is the acceleration of this with respect to Earth. So I simply assume that this has some acceleration a1 with respect to this larger mass m. This a1 is the acceleration. If I sit here, if I stand on this block, when with respect to this block, I see this moving. But the point is that when I stand on this Earth, then I see that this block is also moving, this block is also moving, because there is no friction. And why it will move in this direction, let me tell you. Let us draw all the forces on this wedge. Let us draw all the forces. The only non-contact force is mg. Then we have normal reaction on this surface n, and then one more normal reaction will come from this side, n1. And if you look at the free body diagram telling the forces of this small m, this small m will have an mg downwards, and I am only drawing the forces, and since n1 is acting on this, so n1 will be acting on this also. Let us take this angle as some alpha. So I want to find out the acceleration of both the block with respect to Earth. With respect to Earth. Now what I have assumed, I have simply assumed that the acceleration of this wedge is a with respect to Earth, with respect to object on which it is put. So it is put with respect to on Earth. And this has acceleration a1 with respect to object on which it is put. It is put on this wedge. Whenever you assume acceleration, you always assume acceleration with respect to the support, with respect to the object on which it is put. This wedge is supported by Earth. So I assume that this has acceleration with respect to its support as a, and this has acceleration a1 with respect to its support. Now Earth is not moving, but its support is moving. So with respect to Earth, this will have some different acceleration by adding a1 and a vectorially. By adding a1 and a vectorially. Whenever we assume acceleration of any object, then we always assume acceleration of that object with respect to the support on which it is put. If the support itself moves, then vectorially everything changes. Now try to understand that. Now, hello, is my voice coming, students?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now tell me, are the force diagram clear to you or not?
Yes, sir.
See, that making force diagram is very easy. Gravitational force and every contact force, only two things. So gravitational force mg, and this object has two contacts, one here, one here. So two contacts. Now on this also, yes, say.
Sir, here we will not break the gravity component to
We will, with that will, I will come. I am coming. Now I have also told you one more thing, that whenever you write down forces, you have to break down forces only along two directions. One along the plane of motion, one perpendicular to the plane of motion. Now for this object, this is the plane of motion. So mg is already perpendicular to the plane of motion, n is already perpendicular to the plane of motion, but this n1, see, there is a standard process. First write down forces. Forces are only two, contact and gravity, that's it. And then you have to break down every force only along two directions, one along the plane and one perpendicular to the plane. That was I going to do, just wait. Now let us break down n1. Let us break down n1 into two components. So we have to break down n1 into two components. So I will write down n1 at somewhere else. Okay. So this is our force n1. Or let us remove this n at a little, let us displace this, so that we get more space. That's the only point. So n is there. and let us make it a little larger. Yeah, and so we have this n1. Now we have to break down n1 along two components, vertical and horizontal in this direction. Now n1, this angle is simply theta, so the 90 minus theta, this is theta, so this is n1 cos theta, and this particular component is n1 sin theta. Now clearly in this direction there will not be any motion because it is on this horizontal surface, and this particular thing cannot press the earth down. So the forces along vertical direction will be balanced. The forces along vertical direction will be balanced. What will be the forces along vertical direction? mg and n1 cos theta acting downwards should be equal to n. Now here also we have to break down every force along two directions, along the plane of motion perpendicular to the plane of motion. So n1 is already perpendicular to the plane of motion. n1 is already perpendicular to the plane of motion. See, the things are very simple and straightforward. n1 is already perpendicular to the plane of motion. So you have to break down mg along this and along this. This particular angle is theta, 90 minus theta, so this becomes theta. Please try to understand. This mg is like this, so this is on the wedge, so this theta, this 90 minus theta becomes theta, so this is mg cos theta, and this becomes mg sin theta.
But theta or alpha?
Alpha. It is, so let us we have lot of thetas, so let us make this as theta. Now first tell me, are the forces writing and breaking down clear to you all? Say yes. Say yes, students. Okay. See, now we are till now we have only taken the objects. Till now we have only taken the objects which were on a stationary surface. Now we are taking objects which are on moving surface, like a ball inside a car, a wedge on a wedge, a block on a wedge where wedge also moves. And the method is set. Firstly, write down the forces and break them as you did before. Now to write down acceleration, it is very simple. Now see, this part you have to write down every acceleration with respect to earth. You have to write down every acceleration with respect to earth. You have to write down every acceleration with respect to earth. With respect to earth, this has acceleration a, so simply you write down acceleration a. So in the vertical direction, no motion, but in the horizontal direction, you will get n1 sin theta is equal to big M into a. Because the acceleration of this block with respect to earth. Now acceleration of this block with respect to wedge is a1. Now understand, but the wedge itself is moving. So to get the final acceleration of this block with respect to earth, you have to add them vectorially. Now see, this is a1, this is a. This a1 is at some angle theta. So you have to add them vectorially. Now let us see how I am going to add them vectorially and show the forces there. Now see, this a1 is along this direction. Please try to understand. While this a is along horizontal direction, like this. So the final acceleration of the block. Now try to understand with respect to this block. If you talk about with respect to this block, this will have only motion in this direction. It is not going to have any motion in this direction with respect to this block. But with respect to the person standing here, it will have motion in both directions because this block is moving upward. Now you break down everything along these two directions, even the accelerations. Please, now we have this here as a, so you can consider, let us break down everything only along two directions. One along the wedge, and one perpendicular to the wedge. Now A1 is already along the wedge, so we have to break down A along two directions. Now try to understand, this is 90 minus theta, so this angle becomes theta. Just simple trigonometry, this angle becomes theta, so this angle becomes again 90 minus theta, so this angle becomes theta. So acceleration along this direction is A cos theta, and acceleration along this direction is A sin theta. So net acceleration, you can say along the wedge, the net acceleration comes out to be A1 minus A cos theta, and the net acceleration perpendicular to the wedge is downwards A sin theta. Why? Because when you break down into two components, this component will come like this and this component will come like this. So you have A sin theta in the downward direction. You have to break down everything, even the accelerations along the path on which the body is moving and perpendicular to the path. That is the thing that you have to do. Now, if you write down for this case now, first let me explain it once more. See, for this particular, since this object is on this wedge, so to write down its acceleration with respect to earth, you have to add the acceleration of the support vectorially. It's a simple fact. Here the earth was at rest, so it is A plus 0. Here this particular object is on this support, but its support is not at rest, so you have to add its acceleration vectorially. Now try to understand. Now we have something like this. Now you have to break down accelerations also only along two directions, along the plane of motion, perpendicular to the plane of motion. So we have this. Now with respect to earth, it has acceleration in this direction also and in this direction also. Now write down F equal to ma. If you write down F equal to ma along this direction, then you can clearly see mg cos theta minus n1 is equal to small ma sin theta. If you write down along this direction, you can clearly see it is mg sin theta is equal to a1 a minus a cos theta into it. Now these are the equations of motion. Once again, a brief introduction I will do for this particular question, and then this is one way of thinking. I am going to tell you one more way of thinking using pseudo force. The word pseudo means false, jhuta, false force, but that solves the problem very fast. Now try to understand this. First try to understand this. Whenever we assume the acceleration of any object, we assume the acceleration of the object with respect to the support on which it is put. With respect to the support on which it is put. And the final acceleration of the object will be the acceleration of the object with respect to support plus the acceleration of the support added vectorially. Whether it is acceleration, whether it is force, you have to break it down only along two directions. One along the plane and one perpendicular to the plane. Please understand. Firstly, write down all the forces, because writing forces is very easy. And break down forces along two directions, one along the plane, one perpendicular to the plane. Then while writing acceleration, you have to use mind. You have to write down acceleration of everything with respect to earth. Now, whenever I assume acceleration, we always assume acceleration with respect to support. So with respect to earth, this has acceleration A, and with respect to wedge, this has acceleration A1. Like this you have to assume. And then you will say that acceleration, net acceleration of this with respect to earth is acceleration of this with respect to support plus acceleration of support with respect to earth added vectorially. Now you need not add it. You need not add it. You will again break down it along two components. All accelerations here and all accelerations here. Because you have broken down forces also only along two components. Then forces is equal to mass into acceleration, net unbalanced force, mass into acceleration, along this direction, and net unbalanced force, mass into acceleration along this direction. This I have solved this problem by way 1. I am going to tell a more easier method, but this should be understood. Understand the more easier method. Okay, any doubt regarding this? Tell students. Tell students, tell any doubt regarding this?
Sir, the direction component of N1, can you explain, sir? N1 cos theta.
See. N1, see. Whenever two bodies are in contact, I told you, whenever two bodies are in contact, the contact force is perpendicular to the surfaces in contact. Remember that contact force is perpendicular to the surfaces in contact. Now, this is the surface. So the contact force will act on this down, this up, perpendicular to the plane, perpendicular to the surface. We don't say plane actually, because every time the surface will not be plane. It may be curved like tires, or you have like those gears. So we say surface, perpendicular to the surface. So this is the surface. So perpendicular to this surface, the contact force will act downward on this, and this surface perpendicular force will act on this N1. Is this thing clear? Is this thing clear?
N1 cos theta, I think, sir, that one I don't understand. That should be N1 sin theta.
Just a second. Is this angle theta? Say yes.
Yes, sir.
So this angle becomes 90 minus theta. Say yes.
Yes, sir.
So this angle becomes theta. Say yes.
Yes, sir.
So this is at an angle theta, the component N1 cos theta.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay, student? Please ask anything. Is this thing clear to you all? This seems to be a little difficult, but don't worry, we are going to come to an easy way. Please first copy down. This method that I told you solves every problem. But whenever I explain this method to students, many students understand that okay, whenever we have to assume acceleration, we will assume the acceleration of anything with respect to its support. And the acceleration of that thing with respect to earth will be equal to acceleration of that thing with respect to support plus the acceleration of support. It is very simple. That is how we do. But generally student asks, sir, can there be an easy way of solving such questions? Yes, there is an easy way. This is also easy. It's up to understanding of us. This is also very easy. But there is one more very easy way. Much easier than this. Now see. Now I am going to solve the same problem in a much easy way. See, whatever method you follow, ultimately the final equation of motion you will get only. Ultimately, final equation of motion you will get this only. It is very simple. Now I am going to explain you one more method of pseudo force. The word pseudo means false. It means a force which is not present, but it helps in solving the problem. Now try to understand. Please, I am going to tell you a very easy method of solving such problems. Very easy method, where the support starts moving, where the object is inside something which is moving itself. Like you are in a lift, you are in an accelerating car, and you don't want to this acceleration headed vectorially, but you want an EG-PG method. So we have an EG method. See this and how easily I do this. Okay, let us take the same problem. This is mass M, this is mass M. I am going to explain you a very easy method, and we are going to use this easy method. we are going to use this easy method only, not that method. But sometimes that method is also can be used. It's up to our understanding. For me, both are easy. Now try to understand. This method is very easy and it is very simple. It simply says, first write down all the forces. Simply, first write down all the forces. So we are writing down all the forces as we used to write down before. The normal force will act from here, mg will act here, and the contact N1 will act here. And on this M, we are going to write down all the forces. Oh, sorry, I made it wrong. Tush. This has to be made at an angle. Again, the forces are very simple. Small mg and normal N1. So the method is very simple and the method is same. Please keep on mentally analyzing the previous method. Then after writing down all the forces, break all the forces only along two direction. Break all the forces only along two direction. One along the plane perpendicular to the plane. So here also this angle is theta. So I have to break down this. The 90 minus theta, theta. So N1 cos theta and this N1 sin theta. So I have broken down everything along horizontal and vertical. Here in this case, the plane of motion is this, which makes an angle theta with the horizontal. So I will again break down the forces. N1 is already perpendicular, so I have to only break down mg. One along this, one along this. This theta, this is 90 minus theta, this theta. So this is mg cos theta, this mg sin theta. These two steps we have been doing. Very simple. Now the trick, pseudo force. Now see what you have to do. You have to write down what it is very simple. How to use pseudo force? The theory of pseudo force simply says that apply a force in the opposite direction. Please understand what I am saying. Please listen. Apply a force exactly in the opposite direction of motion of the support, which is equal to the mass of the object into acceleration of support. Simply see, listen it once more. Apply a force opposite in the direction of motion of support. What is the magnitude of the force? The magnitude of the force is mass of object into acceleration of support. Mass of object into acceleration of support. And then do normally. Now understand. This object is on earth. Earth is its support and earth is not moving. But this object, now again, this has acceleration a here. This has acceleration a1 downwards. Now on this object, since its support is moving, so on this object a pseudo force will be applied. So we will apply a pseudo force. Now this has acceleration this. So pseudo force must be applied in opposite direction of the acceleration of the support. Simply just a force, pseudo force, simple force. Okay, opposite direction, and its value mass of the object into acceleration of support, and then do the question normally. Now I apply a pseudo force MA, simply pseudo force MA, and the acceleration of this A1 I write down acceleration of this as A1. CEGPG. Now this is a force. Now you need to break it down again. Now you need to break it down once again. This is 90 minus theta, this is theta. So this pseudo force MA will get broken down into two components. One along this, one along this. This component will come out to be MA cos theta and this is MA sin theta. And treat it as a force. Now if you write down laws of motion for this, this has only acceleration A this. So in the vertical direction, everything gets balanced. what are the forces downwards? mg plus n1 cos theta. What is the upward? N. Now in this direction, you have n1 sin theta is equal to mass into acceleration. Now for this, write down everything along this direction. Along this direction, what are the forces? ma cos theta plus mg sin theta. And this forces should be equal to mass into acceleration. Now along this, what are the forces? Now along this, there is no motion now. Along this, there is no motion now. The only acceleration is there. So balance all the forces along this. So downward force, mg cos theta, and upward force, n1 plus ma sin theta. And you get the same equation of motion. See here, see these two. Click in your eyes and see these two. These are the same. These are the same. They come out to be same. So you can see that this is another tricky way of solving the problems. And this is the best way. Instead of, you can do it in both ways. That the acceleration of this with respect to earth is equal to acceleration of this with respect to support plus acceleration of support with respect to earth. And then break down the acceleration along the two direction, one along the plane of motion, one perpendicular to the plane of motion. Or you can consider this as a pseudo force, false force, jhuta force. And then do normally. On this object there is a force, ma. And then do normally, just like this. Is this thing clear to you all? Say yes.
Yes, sir.
See, how to apply the pseudo force? Please listen to me. Look at me. Look at me. How to apply the pseudo force? If the pseudo force is a force which acts in the opposite direction of the motion of support, motion of support on which the object is there, and its magnitude is equal to acceleration of support multiplied by mass of object. Bas, simply apply the pseudo force and apply Newton's laws of motion normally. Simply apply the pseudo force and apply Newton's laws of motion normally. So it is much easier actually. Instead of thinking acceleration, it is much easier. Just a force in this direction, break down force and do. If the support is moving, then you always have to apply pseudo force. If support is moving, simply apply pseudo force and do. Now we will do lots of problems on this to understand more. Now first tell me, is this pseudo force thing clear to you all? Say yes. Say yes, students. Please copy down.